How modern now is like a lot of like iron
A
railings
lot of
and
natural materials. You were lighting up the spaces a lot.
right.
So,
What advice would you give to realtors out there that are listing a home that
yeah,
might not be so pretty?
right.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Colorado High Country Real Estate Podcast, where we talk all things real estate and try to give you guys some great value. I'm Dave Metzler, your host, and today I've got a special guest, Casey Lovgren. But before we get started, let's go ahead and get it rolling. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. Okay. All right. We've got Casey Lovgren here today. Hi, Casey.
Hi, so good to be here.
Oh, good. Good to see you. Okay. So, Casey, you do interior design.
I do.
And this is kind of an interesting topic for me because I don't know much about interior design at all. And so I'm really hoping to learn some things today.
Okay.
Let's start it off. Let's tell us a little bit about you. How did you get into interior design? What's your background? And we'll go from there.
Okay. Yep. So I went to school in Fort Collins at CSU for interior design. And
Okay.
then I met my husband, Eric, and we moved up here in 2002, winter of 2002.
Okay.
And I worked in different design firms in the Valley for a while, for like 10 years. And I was just trying to learn as much as I could.
Mhm.
So I really started specializing in window treatments, I would say, more than anything. And before that, I really specialized when I was in school in lighting design.
Okay.
So I was trying to get, as much just little things that I could in my bucket. So then in 2013, my business partner and I, her name's Danielle O'Connell, her and I went off on our own and started branching out interiors.
Okay.
Yep.
So interior design can kind of mean a lot of different things to me.
Okay.
We're talking about maybe remodeling a house, refurnishing a house, maybe staging a home for a sale. What's your kind of area of expertise?
Right. There's a lot of facets of interior design for sure. And I feel like we have really kind of, when we started this business, we both worked in retail.
Okay.
And we kind of knew what the markup in retail was. And we knew what we could do for people in this area that maybe would benefit them versus what we could do in a retail store. So going off on our own, we kind of got a small little place. So we still have an office space in Eagleville, but we still buy everything at wholesale, but we mark it up very fairly. Our prices are very fair compared to what retail shops can because we don't have the overhead.
Okay.
So we knew we could do that. That's what we were kind of going for. And we both knew we had expertise in window treatments, which are lines like through Hunter Douglas, and then custom treatments like draperies and balances, Roman shades, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So, and then with my lighting background, I have that as well. So when we kind of started, we went to a lot of the rental properties, throughout Vail and Beaver Creek and said, hey, this is what we can do for your people that are renting. We can offer furniture, we can offer lighting design, we can offer window treatments. And we weren't even charging for our services. Because we can make money on the products.
Right.
So that was really successful for us to start.
Okay. So you mentioned window coverings, and I got to be honest, window coverings are so expensive.
Yep.
Why is that?
I don't know. I know it's always baffling to me.
I mean, like thousands and thousands of dollars.
It is, and people say all the time, which is so just ironic to me, is they come to me and they say, we just put thousands of dollars of new windows on our house, and now we have to pay thousands of dollars to cover them up.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose that's a common theme.
It really is. I mean, there are knockoffs for window coverings for different blinds and things, but really what I have found is it's not worth it. It's not worth going with the knockoff because you don't get the warranty, you don't get just the quality. And so you do kind of have to spend the money on good window treatments. I have found, because I've done it a long time. And if I use these knockoff companies, it just becomes a headache for them and for myself.
Well, so what's bad about the knockoff brands?
Well, I just feel like they have more problems with the mechanisms. They don't have the warranty, so everything has to be sent back. Where if it's like a Hunter Douglas product, we have guys here that can go and service it on site.
Oh, okay.
So it makes it so much easier for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you say to somebody who has to do window coverings all through their house? How do you brace them?
Well, I do. there are products that are less expensive than others.
Okay.
So I always offer that option. I say, okay, these are going to be your least expensive options, and I will price anything. So let's start here. We'll price this product and maybe this product and see where you're at. And then how do we get to the budget that you feel comfortable with?
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's also with like drapes, I do have lines that do more of a economical, it's like an economical workroom
Yeah.
versus a custom workroom. So it's kind of a semi-custom
Okay.
deal. So that can help people. And we do that a lot, especially, I mean, people that have rental properties, they don't want to put so much
super high-end
money
stuff, and
no, they
it's
don't,
gonna get
because
trashed.
yeah, if it gets trashed, then it's ruined, right?
Yeah.
So we've specialized in really trying to find products, not in just window covering, but in furniture for these rental properties that are gonna last, but aren't gonna cost people a fortune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have a different approach when you're dealing with somebody with a rental property versus their own home?
For sure. Yeah, it's completely different. People with rental properties just pretty much call us and tell us to make it look nice.
Right.
Yeah.
So get some more rent for their
Right,
place,
right.
but if things get trashed, not the best quality
Right.
stuff.
But I mean, that's what we like, products versus like with flooring and not just furniture, but like in a remodel, picking the right products that are going to last, using porcelain versus natural stone. There's a lot of things that you can do that will look aesthetically pleasing and people love, but aren't going to break the bank.
Yeah. It's all really so expensive. So do you work on new construction
We do
as well?
Yep, I'm doing two. I would say more like full gut remodels
Okay.
than a lot of new construction, because I feel like a lot of the new construction we do, but not as much. I would say full gut remodels for sure, though.
Okay. So on a full gut remodel, what's your process with the customer? Take us through that. Do you show them samples? Do you have like 3D things where people can see the room and the
Right,
color
with
they want?
technology,
Or
that's
like what's your process?
So typically we always meet with the client for an hour free consultation, just
Okay.
because we need to make sure it's a good fit for both us and for them,
Right.
So we like to meet at the property, walk through the property, and kind of get an understanding of what's going to be done, what they want, and like find out what their style is and what their aesthetic is. So just start building a relationship with them
Okay.
and to see if it's going to be a good fit, because it is a relationship you're going to have for a while.
Yeah, that's a long project.
It
It
is
becomes
a
a long project.
process.
Well, and so have you ever had a situation where your client and you just have completely different taste,
hmm
and maybe that had some conflict there, or did you have to try to convince them of why
All the time.
this is the better way to
Yeah.
go?
Yeah, because people always have it in their head. People are set in their ways,
Yeah.
and they know what they know, right? And so it takes some time, I think, and it depending on the age of the client too, for them to understand that different products can be used and it might work better for them,
Right.
So it is sometimes tough to try to get people to understand and open their mind to new things, I
Yeah.
think.
So you almost have to be a psychologist a little
Yeah.
bit, maybe get in their head and
Yeah.
try to persuade them.
Mhm.
So let's say a client had just some outrageous thing that they wanted to do. Have you ever gone along with that?
I mean, I feel like you kind of have to. Yeah. I mean, the whole goal is it's their place, right?
Right.
And so you want to make it special for them, and that's where they're going to be. So yeah, we work with what we are given, and it usually actually turns out pretty well, even though sometimes we're like, oh no,
Right.
this is going to be tough,
Well, that kind of leads me. I've got a sort of a funny little video here to show you real quick. It was just a TikTok video.
Okay.
And let me see if we can share it here. The video says, when the scheme has been agreed and your client starts scrolling interiors online.
Hey, come here. Look at me. Hey, look at me. What'd I say? No. Come here. Look at me. Hey, look at me. No. Come here. Look at me. Hey. Look at me. What'd I say? What? No. Come here. Hey. Look at me.
What does that video mean to you?
Well, I think just like I was saying, like people kind of they get stuck on something maybe, and they really can't get out of their head on that, and they really want that thing, and it just doesn't work with the overall scheme,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And so just trying to guide them in a different direction or trying your best to work with what they want. It can be a puzzle piece.
Well, and it's sort of a weird thing because somebody may want something in their home and that's really what they want, and that's okay.
Yep.
But you're also the professional,
Right.
and you sort of know color schemes and things like that.
Correct.
And so you probably have to just kind of cringe once in a while.
Oh,
and
yeah.
go, okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some projects that haven't turned out the way that I would have liked them to, just because we can't convince people to do things that we want them to do or
Right.
that we think that they should do. But overall, as long as they're happy, that's all we care about.
Of course.
Especially if it's their personal home, because that's what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's bring it local here for a minute. So we're here in the Colorado High Country, the name of the podcast. And we have a lot of obviously mountain homes, log cabins, or there's a certain art deco around here
For sure.
for mountains, right? And that's actually changing. A lot of newer construction that I see has a more of a modern
For sure.
mountain look
Yep.
versus the older style mountain look.
Yeah.
But what's kind of hot right now? What trends or fashions or colors are hot right now in 2024?
Well, I think you're right. The mountain modern style has really been a big hit for the last few years, for sure. And that's for exterior and interior.
So for everyone listening, mountain modern. So the kind of old mountain style was like a lot of
Log
wood,
cabin,
logs.
Yeah, a lot of wood for sure.
Definitely
Heavy,
a lot of wood and
heavy, dark things,
And so mountain modern now is like a lot of iron, like iron railings.
A lot of natural materials. You were lighting up the spaces a lot.
Right.
So less wood. But you still get, which brings in the mountain kind of feel, you still find like antlers and cowhide and just touches of those things, though. You don't have the whole room, aesthetic with.
So that's kind of the key now, is sort of touches of
correct.
Sort of that, maybe that old mountain look, but with newer stuff.
Yeah, and more modern designs and furniture too. So you're kind of combining
the
two, and it's really a nice overall finish. Yeah.
I got two questions. Forever, granite countertops were all the rage, and stainless steel appliances. But I feel like both of those might be kind of outdated now a little bit. Like, aren't there some new surfaces that people are choosing over granite, or maybe I'm wrong?
Yeah, no, granite, definitely we don't use a whole lot of it anymore. People are kind of going more towards quartz or quartzite.
Right.
So, and that they're different. Quartz is a man-made. Quartzite is still a natural material, but it's a lot prettier than granite. I think it has a lot more uniqueness to it. It's a lot lighter.
Okay.
But quartz is going to save the consumer a lot of money if they go with that.
Okay.
And again, it's like it's always changing, though, because there was a lot of white quartz and it went with a lot of white with gray veining in it. And now we're seeing the white with a little bit of brown in it because everything's kind of going warmer again. So the coloring, gray has kind of started, going out, and now the warmer tones are coming back in, the real natural earthy tones.
Yeah.
And you see it even in natural products and that kind of thing too.
Okay. How about flooring? What's kind of the hot product for flooring right now?
I mean, people are doing a lot of wood still, obviously, but in the rental properties, to try to, make them a little bit more renter friendly. We've been using the LVT, which that product has gotten just really good.
Really durable.
And it's just it looks just like wood. It does have, when you walk on it, maybe a little bit of a plasticky feel, but I mean, if people are walking in your unit on ski boots, like, you don't want them walking in on your fresh wood floors. So
and dogs.
Yeah,
and
dogs.
That kind of
Yep. So that's been a really great material because you still get that wood, that natural kind of look.
Yeah.
But you're going to have a product that's going to last a lot longer.
Yeah.
So
what about new products that are using technology such as, smart home technology or things to control your lights and things like that? Do you get involved with that, or is that more of like an AV side?
Yeah, it's a little bit more of an AV side, but I feel like that is a big thing in homes nowadays. And talking about like what is good for resale and that kind of stuff for properties, I think that's huge. If somebody comes into a home that's fully automated, and that you could take your phone and push a button and all your blinds come down,
Yeah.
or when you're away, you could turn on your lights and you can make the blinds come up and down. That kind of stuff is really big because especially for homeowners that live here half the year, they don't want people to think they're not here, right?
Right.
And so to be able to
Interesting.
control your home that way and make it look like your home from afar, that's a huge thing.
Yeah. If your shades are up,
And
looks
your
like
lights
people are
come
home.
on. Yep. And you can control that all through your home these days, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we do a lot of, since I'm in blinds, do a lot of blinds. We do a lot of motorized blinds, and I'm working on a project right now with a lot of motorized blinds and draperies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I see those motorized blinds. The motorized blinds are great for high up windows.
Right.
If you have like a great room and you've got some high windows
Right.
and you just want to cover them and you have the remote control.
And you don't have the cords hanging down, which are ugly.
Right.
The nice thing too is they're all being made now with the option to do a rechargeable battery,
Oh,
which is huge.
okay.
So you don't
They
even
don't
have
need to be plugged in.
you
Or
every like
wired.
you don't have to be wired, and they run amazing.
Okay.
And then you just have to charge them maybe once a year. You pull this plug up, it magnetizes to it, so it's really easy, and then you just plug it in for like an hour, and then it will be good for.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I mean,
okay. So do you deal a lot with people with the sale of properties? Do you ever get calls from homeowners or realtors saying, "Hey, we're going to sell the property. I just want to spruce it up." Not necessarily staging,
Mhm.
but just sprucing up the property. Or what advice would you give to realtors out there that are listing a home that
Yeah.
might not be so pretty?
Right. We don't really get involved in that much, but my advice would be is always less is more.
Okay.
So if you're trying to sell your home, I mean, I know all these things are super important to you, but they might not be to the person looking at your house.
Right.
So just take everything out, box it up, put it away, make it just clean. People want to come into your home and they want to visualize their things in there,
Right.
not yours. So
Okay.
the more you can clean it up, the bigger the space will look, the more open it will look, and the less cluttered. So
Yeah.
I think getting rid of clutter is the biggest thing.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And personal things, personal pictures and
yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
So tell me about one of your favorite projects that you can remember. What did you like about it? What made it just such a great fun project for you?
Gosh, there's been so many. But probably one of the coolest projects I was involved in was years ago, but I did all the drapes for the Ford house
Oh,
when they were
okay,
remodeled.
Gerald Ford. Okay.
In Beaver Creek.
Yeah.
So someone had bought it and they were fixing it up and they were making it look very presidential.
Okay.
And so they hired me to do all the draperies for all the rooms. And so, they even had like the main office where we tried to make the drapes look like the Oval Office.
Oh, wow.
It
Okay.
was, so it was just really special to be a part of that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
things like that. And sometimes it's not even about the project in the home, but it's about the people, because
Right.
that, like, if you have a good relationship with a client and you work together and you create these spaces that are just amazing, it's really fun and it makes it just rewarding for everybody.
Yeah. No, I get it. I don't know if I have an eye for interior design or not, but when we redid my daughter's room recently, we were painting and I came up with, I didn't want to just paint. Well, we had kind of just painted the walls and she had two different colors, but then in a corner, I did a design where the colors kind of
mesh together.
And then I kind of designed my studio here, and I don't know if it's good or not. I like it, but
it looks great.
thanks. But when you're doing interior design work, do you find that the women or the men are mostly involved with you, or a little bit of mixture of both, or how do you find that shakes out?
I know it is kind of different. I would say most of it is I work with the women, but right now I'm working with two projects where it's mostly the men want to be involved.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really different. Yeah.
What what do you suppose is the dynamic there? Just doesn't matter if you're men or women. Some people just really love design.
I think so, and I think this one project I'm working on, like, this is his love here, is Vail, and he's a big skier, and so he considers this his place.
Kinda,
yeah, so he really wants to make it special for himself.
And what is he, just out of curiosity, being a skier and whatnot, what's his design? Like, what kind of stuff is he doing?
Yeah, definitely more mountain modern, with the bathrooms and stuff. I really love designing bathrooms.
Oh,
Like with
really?
the tiles, and I mean, there's so many cool
Yeah.
different ways you can create those spaces that make them really special.
Right.
But like doing unique tile wood walls like across the whole back wall, and then maybe adding like still like a pebble on the floor in the in the shower, or,
Right.
just to kind of create a little bit of a mountain feel, but still very I don't know, stark colors, and make it feel a little bit more modern,
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Yeah.
Even if someone's taste is completely off base,
Yeah.
really, they just have odd, weird
Yeah.
taste, and you're gonna go with it because
I
you
am.
said let's
Yep.
make
That's
the
just what
clients
we
happy,
do. It's
right?
all about making them happy. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's really just about learning what they love and what makes them happy.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And that in turn, that makes me happy too. Like, cause then they smile and they're happy with what
Sure.
the finished
Yeah.
product looks like.
It's their house,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So what would you say to somebody who's thinking about remodeling their mountain home right now? What's the process? Would you say
More for a DIY or
well, whether they're going to do it themselves or they're going to use an
Mhm.
interior designer? Would you say start with your budget and then decide is flooring more important right now? Let's say they don't have money for everything.
Yep.
What would you focus? I don't know. What would you say to a client who's just thinking about it? What are things that you would give them to think about?
Yeah. I mean, I think definitely the material selections. And to start off, like, don't be scared to call in an interior designer. I mean, most people will give you an hour consultation
Okay.
and find out how they work and what they can help you with. Because
Okay.
sometimes it's overwhelming for people and thinking they're going to have to go in and spend so much money by
Right.
hiring a designer, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Do most interior designers have access to discounted products?
Yes, I would say yes. I mean,
Okay.
some don't work that way, but I would say most designers have discounted, like even throughout the valley, through all the stores in the valley, like the plumbing and the tile stores. Like we can all get better pricing that we
Okay.
can help. Like we will give the client that our discounted price because they're paying us
Right.
differently.
So I was going to say, so the client who might be thinking, well, I don't want to pay for the interior designer. Really, what you're saying is you can get discounted products, which
Yeah.
offsets that cost, and you got to work with a professional
Right.
rather than trying to do it yourself.
And if you do it right the first time, then you won't have to redo it.
Right. That's the worst when you tile a bathroom or something, and you're like,
Oh, I hate it.
I don't like
I
it.
hate it.
Let's redo it. Has that
Yeah.
ever happened?
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
Well, not like we've loved everything but clients have come to us and have said, "Oh no, what have we done?"
Yeah, that color's off.
The color's
or
off, and
something.
they've like just repainted their whole place, and it's not the right tone.
Right.
So
Right.
we do get that quite often, actually. So I mean, it's worth the call to an interior designer, and it's worth finding out how they work. And then as far as what to do I mean, if you're remodeling, definitely get the main things done. Do the tile, do the flooring. Painting
Paint
does
is
such
easy.
a easy thing that really makes such a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend who lives in California, and he's got a fence, just like a wood fence around his house, and the boards are fine. He just doesn't like the look of I just paint it.
Yep.
Just paint it.
Yep.
He was like, should I replace it? And just paint it.
Yep.
As long as the boards aren't
Can you
rotting.
do it?
He's in the process
Yeah.
of doing it.
Yeah.
So I said, a coat of paint does a lot.
It does a lot.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep. And I think for people that are trying to sell their homes too, if they can just paint the walls, that creates such a nice, clean feel surface, and just go neutral. Like, don't do any accent walls, just
Right.
go neutral so
Yeah.
people can determine what they want to do with the walls.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so up here in the mountains, the sun is very, very strong, and I know houses take a beating, especially on the south side, the sunny side.
Facing, yep.
And so when it comes to window coverings, are there actual window coverings that are meant to help with energy efficiency or reflect the heat or absorb the heat in the wintertime?
Yep, absolutely. And some people move here and they have no clue how intense the sun is,
Yeah,
right?
it's really strong here at
Yeah.
the altitude.
Yeah. And if you don't protect your windows, your wood floors are going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that intense.
They're going to get faded. They're
Yeah.
going to get warped.
Yep.
They're going to dry out. Maybe
Yep.
even the wood's going to shrink a little
Yeah.
bit.
So it's really important to cover those windows.
Yeah.
I would say, solar shades are huge, and they have been for a long time. But
Okay.
solar shades are so great for living rooms, especially open areas where you can. The thing with solar shades is you can see out
Oh, okay.
during the day.
Okay.
And you can't really see in during the day, but then at night it's kind of the reverse. But there's never daylight in your house, right?
Okay.
You're gonna have lamps on and stuff, so you see more shadows from outside when your shades are down. So you don't have as much privacy with them.
Hmm.
There are different levels of privacy you can get. It goes from like 1% to 10% as
Yeah.
far as the weave.
Yeah.
So you can get them that are a little bit more opaque than others. But what they do is it's so nice because if they're down, they really protect your home from the sun.
Yeah.
So they're going to protect your R value. They're going to reflect that sun. So in the summer, your house will stay cooler. In the winter, it will stay warmer.
So I was going to ask about
Mhm.
that. So when you say solar shade, it actually is reflecting the
It does
sun
do
in
that.
the
Yep.
summer.
But like if you really have bad windows, like if your windows need to be replaced and you just can't afford to do that right now,
Right.
solar shade or cellular shades are the way to go because those are really meant for the highest R value in your home.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's worth a conversation if you're in that place where you want to look at window coverings about what's going to best suit your needs, you know?
We talked earlier about how expensive things are, especially window shades. Yep. Like with a company like Hunter Douglas, for example, do they have sort of a higher end line and a more of a budget?
They do
line?
Actually. Yep, they do. So like talking about the honeycomb shades, they have their duet line, which is kind of their higher end line. And then they have the applause, which is they don't get as many color choices and as many maybe textural fabrics, but they have still a lot.
Right.
And so if you go to the applause, you're going to save quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
So I mean, and you always ask, and I actually always tell my clients like, hey, if you're on a budget, look here first, you know, because this is going to be the best bang for your buck.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, the other thing too, I just wanted to mention is, there are rebates, I know, for those too, and even federal rebates, like you replacing your windows or replacing your shades into specific cellular shades. You can get
energy savings, right?
Yep. It's a federal tax credit.
Right.
Every year you can get up to maybe $2,500 back, I think, or something.
Right.
So
yeah, I know actually there's some nonprofits here in the area in Eagle County. I know Walking Mountains, they work with homeowners to get tax credits and things like that for energy savings.
Yep.
So, interior design, it's complicated. There's a lot to think about: color schemes, materials, sustainability, eco-friendly, all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely complicated. So anybody out there, if you're thinking about doing any type of remodel or redesigning of your property, I would recommend definitely to contact a professional, because they're gonna. I mean, you have like books and things like that where you're going to show colors and and
samples. We have an office space that has everything you would need, you know, because it's so hard if you don't have that it's just really tough for somebody to pull it all together. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Yep.
So definitely, seek the advice of an interior designer. And I think you've brought a lot of stuff to light today, because as we were saying off camera, how much can we talk about with interior design? There's only so far you can go with it, but I think we've gotten some good information and good things for people to think about.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. So how can people find you if they're looking for an interior designer?
So we're in Avon. You could go to our website, branchingoutvale.com.
Branchingoutvale.com.
Yep. And then branchingoutvale@gmail is our email. So yeah, we're in Avon. We got a great studio above the bakery. It always smells amazing.
Nice. Probably always hungry every time you go.
Yeah. But yeah, we have a great studio there. So it's really welcoming. Yeah. Okay. So give us a call.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming in to the studio today,
Casey.
It's been great talking to you. You're actually a neighbor of mine. I've known you for a while, and it's been awesome sitting here and talking to you about what you do and trying to give the listeners some good information. Great. So appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Thanks. All right, guys. We'll see you guys on the next one.